Yeah! Ah! What the fuck?
There was a time when Family Guy was considered the underdog. A show that may have taken a lot from The Simpsons, but had a very unique sense of humor thanks to a scrappy nerd called Seth MacFarlane, a young cartoonist who would go on to achieve his dream of becoming vaguely Asian. If The Simpsons was a subversion of the family sitcom, then Family Guy amplified it to straight parody. The Simpsons was absurd, but still tried to have a heart and a moral lesson. Family Guy was absurd, crude, and spat in the face of morality.
It really doesn't matter where you're from, as long as we're all the same religion.
That's not to say that the show didn't have heart or a sense of whimsy. In fact, I think that's what makes the first 3 seasons so memorable. Not that the later seasons don't have their classic moments.
What the hell are you doing?
Crack.
Okay.
The show did well at first, but was always going up against much more popular shows on other networks. It was canceled, brought back, and then canceled again. But because of the show's amazing DVD sales and reruns on Adult Swim basically keeping that network alive during its early years, Family Guy was brought back in 2005. But it wasn't just brought back. Fox finally realized what they had and gave Family Guy a frickin' huge marketing campaign.
America, you asked for it.
Holy fuck, Stewie, I'm shitting.
The start of animation domination was with Family Guy. Sundays were packed with Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, and Malcolm in the Middle. I remember the ads would just have cartoon versions of the Malcolm family, and that made me think that the show was going to switch to animation after 6 seasons. The marketing campaign for Family Guy was huge. I remember all the shirts with those classic pre-cancellation quotes. Who martini leg hump, I am the dog. I'm pretty sure Family Guy coming back is the reason Spencer's still exists. There were also toys from Mezco, which was funny seeing action figures for a then canceled series. These were one of the few Family Guy figures ever made, so they're pretty pricey now. Why must the passage of time torture me so? They even tried to give Stewie his own Bartman with the R&B single, His Name is Stewie. And I don't know if this was trying to be ironic, but this was passé even in 2005. There was the movie, Stewie Griffin and the Untold Story, which was just a way to wring some more DVD sales out of fans. But of course, there was Family Guy, the video game for PS2, Xbox, and PSP. The ads made it look like this game was going to take the gloves off. Too hot for TV. Censor bars in the trailer. You mean to tell me I can see the most unappealing 3D boobs ever? Damn you, ESRB and your rating standards. Most of the target demographic of Family Guy couldn't actually rent this game, so it eluded me for years. I saw the reviews of it weren't that great, but I still wanted to see what 13-year-old me was missing. First of all, the title itself is grammatically incorrect. It's not Family Guy: the video game or The Family Guy video game. It's Family Guy video game. Hey, the show made no qualms about calling its audience morons. The game has a cel-shaded art style that honestly looks pretty good. It captures the character's likeness in 3D pretty well. It even has that same kind of stilted framing that the show has. The voice cast from the show is here too, which I'm guessing is where all the budget went. The game is split into 3 gameplay styles. The first being Stewie in a sort of platformer shooter. The game has a Sims-like camera, and each room is kind of its own little challenge. The characters say original lines, or they will just reuse voice clips from the show. The most laughs I got were the voice lines overlapping each other.
Stewie, guess what word I'm thinking of right now? And it's not kitty.
I really wouldn't know.
Go on, guess a word. Oh no, someone peed in my pants.
When you start in the hospital, you can kind of see the charm of this game. The best sight gag in the game is when you jump on these pregnant women and babies come out. Don't worry, I'll save this pile of babies. Stewie's gun has a lock on, and he also gets these hover balloons, which are pretty fun. I can't help but feel these were a fail-safe for the platforming, since it can be awkward to do with these camera angles. You get some variety with these Space Invader segments, these sort of puzzles where you have to reflect bullets, and just straight platforming. There's also these mind control segments, but it's mostly just slowly walking to a waypoint. The best part of this game are the cutaway minigames. The characters will do a cutaway gag, which starts this WarioWare style minigame, and if you succeed, you get a little power up. This is such a brilliant way to implement the cutaways into the game, and the cutaways are quick, so it's actually a fun surprise. This makes me wish that there was a Family Guy Mario Party ripoff that had cutaways for the minigames. That would do so well. You could make a drinking game out of it. You could honestly make that game now, and it would still be a hit.
Huh. Hidden pornographic scene viewable by pressing up, up, down, down, left. Huh. Horny gamers believe anything.
I actually did try pressing the buttons during this, and pressing any button skips the entire cutscene. That would have been a great opportunity to troll the player, like showing a clip from Sherry and the Anus. Brian's story is that he's framed for getting Seabreeze pregnant again, so he has to clear his name by sneaking around the police station. Oh boy, licensed games stealth sections. Brian's levels are easily the weakest of the game because it's not really stealth. It's just trial and error until you find the optimal path. You have disguises and certain events that distract guards, but these are heavily scripted and don't actually change the guard's path. It's also hard to gauge how far the NPCs can look or what direction they can actually see. The camera is also restrictive, and you can get caught by someone not in your field of view. I was honestly just YOLOing it towards the end, and it actually worked 70% of the time. I will give the game credit. The very restricted view of the camera does add for a lot of visual gags, like this guy in the noose that you have to sneak by. They won't make you bust a gut, but they do add a little charm to very bare bones gameplay. Oh man, is this the partial nudity they were talking about? These levels also go on a little too long because it took me like an hour to finally play as Peter.
Belvedere! That's it! Mr. Belvedere has kidnapped my family and for some reason wants me dead.
Hey Siri, remind me to Google who Mr. Belvedere is later. Peter's sections are beat-em-ups, and it's the most jank beat-em-up I've ever played. You have a simple 3-hit punch and kick combo, and only certain enemies can get hit by either one. The kids can only be kicked, but with the adults, you kinda have to gamble which attack will actually hit them, and it just adds an unnecessary step to the combat. Like, do I punch women or kick them? But the worst part about this combat is that there's no hit stun. Usually in a beat 'em up, when you hit an enemy, they go into this stun animation, so you can finish your combo. Even the most mediocre beat 'em ups have this. But in this game, the enemies lose health without the animation, so they just continue attacking. It's like every enemy in this game has super armor. So you can't really do a combo in this game. You just attack and then walk away so you don't lose health. You even get these special combos like a slide kick, but the animation is so long that you're guaranteed to take a hit if you do it. But none of this even matters, because the only way to beat these sections is to use your spin kick. This orange meter is your special meter that you replenish with snacks, and allows you to do special attacks, and the only one that matters is the spin kick. It takes about 10 kicks to take down these bigger enemies, but just one spin kick takes them out. Early on, you don't have that much meter, so the early bosses like this clam are especially frustrating because you only have so many spin kicks. Later on, you get more meter, and then the strategy is efficiently timing your spin kicks to kill the most enemies. The spin kick trivializes all the other moves, and you're gonna lose if you don't use it. The game has these crazy difficulty spikes that make you question if it was playtested properly. The worst offender is this Stewie level, where you have to go through waves of enemies in a Space Invader segment, but landmines are also going off around you. Your natural instinct is to keep going forward to get closer to the enemies, but then the landmines are going off behind you and you can't see them, and they take half your health in a single hit. I was constantly jumping just to avoid the landmines. Eventually I figured out to stay back and then the landmines are more visible, but it's still a ridiculously unfair segment that just pops up in the middle of the game.
You think that's bad?
There's this Helen Keller minigame that you can't skip, and you just have to let the timer run out. And this happens every time you start this segment. It's like a troll. Like you have to waste even more time before you can try to beat this bullshit segment. By the 2-hour mark, this game had worn off all its charm, and I was just gritting my teeth just to see it to the end. The long play for this is about 3 hours, but it took me about 6 just because of all the bullshit. When people in the comments were talking about how difficult this game is and how their dad died while playing it, I scoffed. But now I know they were not just bad at video games. Brian's sections could have been cut out entirely, and it would have significantly improved the game. He doesn't even get a final boss. He just has a scripted event that, while funny, is anticlimactic.
Ah, crap!
The final bosses aren't anything special, although the giant chicken fight does have some fun set pieces. But it has this super annoying QuickTime minigame where you have to press so many buttons and you can't mess up once or you have to start over. Really, the only problem with this game is that it sucks. It's a game that doesn't do much and it doesn't do them well. The Stewie sections are okay, except for the difficulty spikes. The Brian sections are just repetitive trial and error. And the Peter sections are basic combat that doesn't work properly. The humor is mostly forgettable. There's some funny sight gags, but it's mostly just jokes taken from the show, delivered worse. I'm very surprised this game is rated M, because honestly, the show is more vulgar than this. Enemies just get zapped away or go flying. No more violent than the ragdolls in Hit and Run. The only nudity is the shower scene, which you could easily cut out, and there's not a single F-bomb. The show was more violent than this, and more sexual, and had F-bombs. I guess the game has some raunchy jokes, but they could have easily cut some stuff out to give this game a teen rating. That way the actual target demographic for Family Guy could actually play it. Either the ESRB was working with the FCC, or they just couldn't let go of the naked guy shower stealth sections. The game doesn't even have any replayability. You can't select any of the previous stages to play. All you can do is play the cutaway gags, which you can do all of them in about 5 minutes. This game is really bad. The only reason to play this game now is if you played it as a 13-year-old and you're feeling nostalgic. If, as an adult, you still think this game is good, then you're genuinely a happier person than I am.
We couldn't afford another minigame, so, how about pressing a button? Yeah, do that. Yay!
As the years went on, it was clear that Family Guy wasn't just a show. It was an institution. It was like The Simpsons in another way. It was never going to end. As it went on, I started to notice the drop in quality. The show got more mean-spirited, and the cutaways felt like they were just filling time. The characters were also flanderized pretty quickly. Peter went from a lovable oaf to a retarded monster. Lois went from a repressed housewife to psychotic slut. Stewie's just gay, Brian is a piece of shit, Chris is a piece of shit. Really, they all became pieces of shit. I feel that's why American Dad has had better longevity. Even if the jokes aren't as good, the characters have remained more consistent. I think after people called the Vault episode gay, they just stopped trying to get an Emmy. I was in college, so I would get stoned and watch the more recent episodes on Adult Swim and think, wow, this sucks. I wanted to make a video detailing why Family Guy is bad, or why old Family Guy was good, but then I graduated and had to find a job. So when the next big Family Guy game came out, I was indifferent. It looked like just another third-person co-op shooter, which was an oversaturated genre in the 2010s. The game got average reviews, and because it's a licensed game, it was delisted in 2014, which made it sort of elusive. There's something about delisting a game that adds to its allure. It makes people have even more rose-tinted glasses about it. But thanks to the Internet Archive, I can finally just play this game perfectly on PC. The premise of Back to the Multiverse is that Bertram has the Multiverse device, and Stewie and Brian must use it to stop him. The Multiverse gives tons of possibilities for different levels, and the game doesn't pull any punches. The first level is a frat world where you're shooting college students, then an Amish world, and then a world ruled by handicaps where you fight Crippletron.
Yes!
This feels a lot more offensive than the previous game, which justifies the M rating. There's even actual guns and blood. It's your standard third-person co-op shooter. You got a weapon wheel, grenades, special items, and you can swap between Brian and Stewie on the fly. I'm pretty sure they used a lot of pre-built assets for this, but the shooting does feel satisfying. It's incredibly easy on PC. Even with mouse and keyboard, the game will auto-aim you towards enemies like in GTA 5. Even without that, the game is still incredibly easy. I only died towards the end, and even then the game is so generous with checkpoints that it's barely a detriment. Dying only matters during the final boss, which gives it some tension, and leads to probably the funniest moment in the game.
What happens now?
You lose.
The levels are also pretty linear, which, honestly, for a game like this, I'm fine with. I really don't want to be trying to find the red key in the Family Guy shooting game. I just want to move forward and keep shooting things while the dog talks. Speaking of, the game does have original dialogue, but it reuses a lot of clips from the show, and it's incredibly obvious when they do.
Brian, pick up. Over.
What?
Brian, please say over when you finish talking. Over.
What? Over. For the record, I don't want to hang out with you anymore when this is over.
When this is what, Brian? Over.
It's really funny with Brian because he sounded significantly different in the first season.
There, now if I can just find a midget with some gin, I'll be in business.
He says that every time he uses a health pack, and I don't know why. I was able to get through most of the game with the default weapons, and I saved up so much that I was fully upgraded only halfway through the game. I barely used the other items like the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, wacky waving inflatable. The items are still fun to use though, like this mini Joe Swanson. Yes!
All right, let's do it! Damn it!
The game is incredibly short, only lasting me about 4 hours, but it's a fine 4 hours. Look, after playing the untested crap that was the PS2 game, having a game that actually works feels like high art. And honestly, a shooter is the perfect genre for a Family Guy game, besides a Mario Party clone. It's incredibly easy and linear, but that lets you enjoy the game's humor. It's not a hilarious game, but when the game isn't pissing you off or adding some unnecessary padding, the jokes that do land harder.
Stupid dog.
The game also gives you some fun set pieces that you could only find in a Family Guy game.
Hey, I'll be popping up now and then with objectives and little hints if y'all get stuck.
Oh hey, the guy who talks like this is like this game's Omo Chow. Yeah, I know his name is Bruce, but I figure most of y'all don't know that. Once you beat the game, you can actually select levels and unlock stuff. What a concept! There's a bunch of costumes and challenge maps which let you play as other characters. All their differences are purely cosmetic, but being able to play as the whole family and Peter's friends is what I want in a Family Guy game.
Your mother smelled.
The game has local multiplayer, but surprisingly the game never had any kind of online multiplayer. That feels like such a missed opportunity. Even a basic shooter like this, just the fact it's Family Guy, would have made it such a hit with college kids. I can understand why critics were so harsh on this game back then. It's incredibly generic, it's short, it just looks like a smoother version of the PS2 game, it's too easy, and it's not consistently funny all the way through. If you paid money for this back then, you definitely feel underwhelmed, especially with no online multiplayer. But playing it now for free, just enjoying this linear ride as the Family Guy characters, it's alright. If I was more of the elitist nerd I was when this game came out, I would have hated it. But now, as someone who has climbed his way out of the hood, I enjoyed it enough. I'm probably never going to play it again, but those 4 hours were decent.
It's about Family
Guy.
And that's what's so powerful about it.
It felt like we were all having a bit of McFarlane fatigue in the 2010s. He stopped writing for Family Guy while the show got worse. We got The Cleveland Show. Every 2 years, we got a movie. And then, the man stars in his own Star Trek parody.
It's too much Seth.
I mean, American Dad was still good, but he just does the voices. And the Ted movies are decent, but nothing that was making us say, oh yeah, this is why we like you. I watched that Million Ways to Die in the West thinking, maybe it won't be that bad. Nah, I can only dick ride so much. That movie is dog shit. What's funny is that in the world of short-form brain rot, Family Guy had a bit of a resurgence. The cutaways work great for TikTok, and seeing them as isolated clips instead of watching a whole episode makes you see it in a new light. Somebody once told me that Family Guy isn't a sitcom with sketches in between, it's a sketch show with a sitcom in between. I think the first 3 seasons really had that balance of a funny sitcom and funny sketches. After that, the cutaways were just seeing what they could get away with, for better or for worse. I think I'm not as sad at the current state of Family Guy compared to The Simpsons or South Park. Both those shows don't care, but they pretend like they do. Family Guy doesn't care, and it doesn't pretend to care. I have a weird respect for a show that really just says, fuck you. To be clear, I don't think any of these shows are good now, but Family Guy had the best decline, if that makes sense.
I'm such a bitch.
It's kind of like how I used to think, man, Adam Sandler just makes crappy movies to pay his friends. But now I think, man, Adam Sandler makes crappy movies to pay his friends. All it takes is one great project to get people to like you again. I wouldn't be speaking so positively of Family Guy. I don't think any of these shows are good now. If it wasn't for how good Ted is. While the movies are pretty good, the Ted show is on a whole nother level. It reminded me why I like sitcoms. I think just having it revolve around a Boston family in the 90s and Seth just doing voices makes for the perfect comedic vehicle. It's funny how this and seasons 2 and 3 of The Orville are good. I guess McFarlane works best with any year that doesn't begin with 2-0. Honestly, Ted has moved Seth up the totem pole. Matt and Trey, all you have to do is make one non-South Park thing, and you're back up. Just goes to show that one great success can make up for your failures. And maybe you need those failures to lead to that success. Maybe you gotta learn that you're not a leading man in a movie, but you can do a stupid voice on a TV show. The Ted Show made this cynic's shriveled heart grow 3 sizes that day. Wait.
Holy fuck.